Welcome to Not Boring English. Today's story is about Queen Victoria and her journey from a young, lonely girl to a strong, caring leader. For learners at the B1, B2 level, if the words feel fast, remember you can slow down playback speed to help your listening. The young queen's quiet promise. The day Victoria became queen, the palace felt very large to her. She was only 18. The rooms were full of heavy curtains, tall mirrors, and portraits of ancestors who never spoke. Outside, carriages rolled on wet cobbles, and voices mixed with the sound of the city. Victoria stood in a small room with a crown too heavy for her head. She felt a mix of fear and wonder. The crown shone, but it didn't tell her how to be a queen. At first, everyone else seemed to know what to do. Advisors brought papers, officials spoke in quick, polite voices, and servants moved as if they had practiced every step. Victoria listened. She learned the names of ministers, the laws she needed to sign, and the rituals of the court. Yet, she also felt something missing. The palace was full of rules, but it lacked the warmth of a real home. Victoria missed simple things: a walk in the park, the laugh of a friend, the freedom to say what she felt. One morning, tired and curious, Victoria put on a plain cloak and left the palace through a small back door. She walked quietly into the city. The streets surprised her. She saw a market full of bright fruits and people talking loudly. She watched a baker hand bread to a child. Smoke rose from a factory chimney in the distance. Men and women moved with purpose. They were not actors in a court. They were people living their lives. A woman working at a stall smiled and said, "Good morning, ma'am," not understanding who Victoria was. Victoria smiled back. The small kindness warmed her. Victoria began to visit the city more often, always in simple clothes. She listened to stories from shopkeepers, teachers, and nurses. She learned about their worries: small pay, cold houses, long hours. She also listened to their hopes: a healthy baby, a safe school for a child, the pride of a finished house. These visits gave Victoria a new view. She felt the weight of the crown in a different way. It was not only a piece of gold, it was a promise to people who needed help. At the palace, some people said the queen should be strict and distant. Others said she should follow old ways without change. Victoria felt torn. She knew rules kept order, but she also knew that rules without care could make life hard for many. One evening, she sat by a window and wrote in her journal. She made a quiet promise to herself: "I will be a queen who listens." Soon after, a new figure arrived in Victoria's life: Prince Albert. He was serious and thoughtful, with a quick mind and kind eyes. At first, Victoria worried. She had seen many men who wanted power, but Albert did not want to be a ruler alone. He wanted to work with her. He read books with her, talked about art and science, and stood with her in public meetings. Albert asked careful questions. He reminded Victoria to rest and to think before answering. Slowly, Victoria found a partner in him. Together, they planned changes that could help people: better schools, safe factories, and public exhibitions to show new inventions. Albert's calm helped Victoria turn ideas into actions. One of the most important moments came when Victoria decided to host a large exhibition. The idea was simple: show the best products, tools, and inventions from many places so people could learn and trade. It was a big risk. Some ministers said it cost too much. Others worried about the crowd. But Victoria remembered the market where the baker had given bread to a child. She remembered the teacher who wanted books. She believed that new ideas could help many people. With Albert's help, she said yes. The exhibition opened on a clear spring day. People came from near and far. They walked under glass roofs and saw machines that could spin cloth faster and trains that moved like thunder. Children pointed with open mouths. Craftsmen traded skill and knowledge. Victoria stood in the crowd, not on a high balcony, and listened to the excitement. She felt the truth of her promise. The exhibition did not solve every problem, but it began a change. It created jobs, spread new ideas, and gave people hope. Not everything went smoothly. There were arguments and mistakes. A fire in a small workshop needed quick action, and Victoria helped organize support for the workers. A minister tried to prevent a law to help schools. Victoria argued, slowly and firmly, until he agreed to try a new plan. These events showed her that leadership was a mix of listening, patience, and courage. Years passed. Victoria grew from a shy young woman into a steady ruler. She married Albert, and they had children. Their life was not perfect. They dealt with illness and loss. But Victoria never forgot the faces she had seen in the market or the promises she had written by the window. She used her position to support art, science, and education. She learned to balance duty with care. The crown remained heavy at times, but it also felt lighter because her people felt heard. In a small moment near the end of this story, a letter arrived for Victoria from a school teacher in a distant town. The letter said, "Our children now have books and a warm room for winter. Thank you." Victoria read the letter and felt the deep meaning of her promise. It was not a single action, but many small, steady choices. She thought of the baker, the woman at the market, the workers in the factory, and the cheerful crowd at the exhibition. Each memory showed her why she had to keep listening. The moral of the story is simple. Leadership is not only power and rules. It is also listening, learning, and making small choices that help others. Queen Victoria's crown began as a heavy thing she did not understand. It became, over time, a symbol of steady care. She learned that a true leader takes time to listen, asks for help, and uses power to make life better for many. The city kept changing, new machines appeared, and people kept working for a better life. Victoria's quiet promise guided her through these changes, and in the end, she left a country with more hope than she had found when she first opened the palace door. Comprehension. Questions. Now, I will ask a few questions about the story to check your understanding. 1. How did Victoria feel when she first became queen? And what did she do to understand her people better? 2. What role did Prince Albert play in Victoria's life and rule? 3. What was the purpose of the big exhibition, and what effect did it have? Thank you for listening to this story from Not Boring English. Please write a comment with your answers or your thoughts about the story, and subscribe for more stories to help your English.